In my education growing up, the arts and music track was segregated from the science and math track. As a theoretical physicist, I look at the current laws as it exists to explain the physical world, look for where they fail in explaining phenomena, and try to improve those theories. And sometimes I use mathematics, and sometimes I actually use my music. Really great physicists can use artistic devices, right, to actually solve problems in a very concrete way. If you look back in the past, like Kepler and Galileo, they also had a musical training, and they used that musical training actually as tools of inquiry in their sciences. Kepler came up with his laws of planetary motion by actually writing down musical notes associated with the velocities of the planets. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to sort of break down some of those stereotypical boundaries and educational dichotomies that exist. When I'm improvising, there's a beginning note and a target note. The first time I started to think about the music science connection, the music physics connection, was when I heard John Coltrane's Giant Steps. I had this idea that Coltrane was exploring more than just jazz patterns and scales and chords, right? I had this intuition that there was something mathematical, something beautiful, something about him trying to create a new structure in music informed by physics. I did discover that Coltrane was highly influenced with Albert Einstein and explored some of the principles, such as the symmetry principles, that Einstein used to formulate his theories of relativity. And so the same way I would look at my physical theories as an object of theorizing, how about D? I started to look at music that way, especially jazz improvisation. The band I belong to is called God Particle. This is me, Melvin Gibbs, and Will Calhoun. But the particle physicist Leon Letterman, when he was frustrated finding the Higgs particle, he called it the goddamn particle. So we decided to play on that and call ourselves the God Particle.
I find drummers, especially the way they play, the way they think about it is very similar to some of the ideas that are inherently in quantum physics. Like how they think about the fragments, and the language just translates back and forth, and that's kind of what happens here.
What I love about Stephon's angle is he wants us to know and listen and understand his point of view. Yeah, he'll call me and he'll say, hey man, something about this theory, and I'm like, is this a class, is this an assignment? Do I have to turn it in by Friday? What's going on here? And he'll go, Will, man, I have something, I have this idea, man. I want to get your opinion on it. But he's serious about it. And that's the difference in working together as God Particle, is how Stephon brings his fact and theory concepts to the band.
All the songs that we wrote actually have an element of science embedded in the song. For example, the song Instanton is based on a quantum mechanical thing.
The instanton is a weird particle because it's a flash of the existence of something in time. It's an entity, a particle, but it's everywhere at the same time.
Wow.
So tell me that again. It's an instantaneous point that's everywhere?
Yeah. The same way a regular particle, like a subatomic particle, right, is localized, meaning that it occupies a local area in space, a local region in space. Yeah. The instanton is a particle that's actually, it exists for a moment in time, but it exists everywhere at the same time. So that's why it's called an instanton.
Instanton.
Yeah.
Playing jazz for me trains me to not get too attached to a concept, because you're going to be wrong. You gotta do something about it. And that way of basically making a mistake, trying new things, and learning from that. That flexibility, that fluidity maybe, that's one place I think that my practice as a jazz musician informs how I do my physics.